Breakin Convention is to demonstrate hip-hop as theatre, says the New York Times. We are delighted to invite Jonzi D, founder and artistic director of Breakin Convention, to Premier Talk to see what the preparations are like in the run-up to the festival this year, Breakin Convention 2021. Breakin Convention represents the origins and evolution of hip-hop culture from around the world and around the corner. Working with the most respected, innovative, and inspirational artists, Breakin Convention is at the vanguard of the global development of the hip-hop theatre genre. Through its world-renowned festivals, international touring, professional development, youth projects, and educational program. Jonzi D, an MC, dancer, spoken word artist, and director, is the foremost advocate for hip-hop who has changed the profile and influenced the development of the UK-British hip-hop dance and theatre scene over the last 2 decades. Engaging with children and young people are their core values. Jonzi D, artistic director and founder of the festival, here with us today at Premier Talk. Thank you, Jonzi, for joining us today at Premier Talk. It's a real pleasure to be able to come and actually speak to you after this whole, craziness of lockdown, pandemic, what we've been through. Can't believe you're finally out here meeting in person and talking about live shows. So if you just tell us about how you feel to be finally being able to bring live festival back to Sadler's Wells.
I feel really happy that we are here at Sadler's Wells, and at the end of the month we're going to be doing Breakin Convention. But I will say this, we did it in December, yeah? So in relation to what we're doing during lockdown, we've been lucky enough that in that 2 weeks that Boris allowed us to have a little bit of fun, that we planned a Breakin Convention in that time, and we weren't expecting it to be locked back down a week after. So we were really lucky. We did an event called Social Dis Dancing, which was really good, and it was UK acts totally. And I just think that the whole pandemic scenario just showed us how much we need to be around each other, and how this form that we're part of, dance, is a healing energy, yeah? Because when we're around each other and when we're dancing, it's just feeding our spirits positively, do you know what I mean? So I'm really, really happy to be dancing and doing it here.
So that would have been my next question to you, that we know traditionally hip-hop dance, hip-hop music has been always underpinned with a message of hope, unity, fun. So how do you think these messages are more relevant in our lives today after we've been through the pandemic? So hip-hop came out of an environment of tension, yeah, an environment of gangsters, and it was as a result of being poor. That fundamentally is the main thing that creates crime. Do you know what I mean? It's not culture, it's money, yeah? So the way I see it, we're gonna enter that stage coming up, yeah? We're gonna be struggling a little bit. The polarization that we've been experiencing over the last year and a half has been disgusting, yeah? Man against woman, black against white, gay against straight. I mean, it's just been really horrible. And hip hop is that one culture that brings people together. So I believe that going forward into the future, hip hop is going to be very important in helping us get back together. Absolutely. So when we talk about hip hop, we know that the poetry or the spoken words in hip hop are usually about socially relevant messages. So now that we've gone through, especially with hip hop artists who are existing or upcoming, now that they've gone through the whole pandemic situation where sometimes art has been labeled as non-essential, people losing work, all the struggle through the pandemic, do you think it's going to inspire hip hop artists to write more about, these situations that has been going on around us?
Absolutely. The amount of writing that I've been hearing has been incredible. And what's beautiful about the writing within hip hop is that there are many different perspectives about what's happening today. We're not just relying on the mainstream media's one-dimensional approach to this is what's happening and all of the big numbers and stuff. What's great within the rap community is that there's a serious dialogue happening regarding, is this really what's going on? And there's a big questions happening. And as usual, the hip hop community is that community that are brave enough to stand up and say something different to the normal narrative that we're hearing.
And how do you think we get answers to these questions that are being raised?
I don't know if we can find the answers. But I think that the questions, is a lot more important, because if the right question isn't there, we're never going to get the right answer.
Absolutely. So did you manage to write something during lockdown?
During lockdown, I did write some bits and pieces. I did a project called Fly the Flag, which was centered around the Freedom Charter. And we had to write some stuff influenced by that. Also, probably one of the most proudest bits of work that I've ever done is a film called Our Bodies Back, which came as a result of a conversation between myself and Alistair Spalding, and chief exec at Sadler Wells. And it was in response to the murder of George Floyd. And it was the fire in my belly, it was so hot that I needed to do something that was very uncompromising and very clear. So I collaborated with a poet called Jessica Care Moore. She's based in Detroit. And I worked with 3 different dancers, one in Montreal, one in Germany, and one in London. And we made this film which is about the Black woman's voice and looking at people like Sandra Bland and people that were murdered by the police, and just, something that we can, that can inspire us to pay attention to these causes, and not just sweep them by the side. Mm-hmm. And using art to do that, So it was a cathartic experience, and definitely one of my greatest pieces of work. It wasn't even my work, I just helped to manage it.
Yeah, you put it very rightly, that art is the catalyst sometimes, and you played your part in it, which is fantastic. So when do we get to see the film? Is it out?
The film is out.
Yeah.
You can check it out on the Sadler Wells digital stage. It's called Our Bodies Back.
Lovely. And what was the experience like of working, across borders? Because you said somebody was in Montreal, somebody was here. So what was it like to bring this group together when, everything was sort of went to a standstill?
Well, WhatsApp is amazing. And we were able to all gather on WhatsApp and just throw in little bits of material and ideas. And it was a very easy way of working. I don't support this idea of working with distance, I appreciate what dance is really about, which is about close proximity. Nonetheless, in lockdown, we had no choice, so we had to find a way, and my vision is to be able to do that piece live. So, at some point we're gonna do it live. And we'd have to reimagine it as a live experience, but I really want to do that. Let it be known.
Now, with Breakin Convention coming up soon, If you tell us a little bit about the events, the lineup, and the process in which you actually do the selection as to how do you sort of, schedule it? If you tell us a little bit, yeah.
It's an interesting one because there's a few little tick boxes, I guess, when I'm thinking about Breakin Convention. So one of them is many different styles that come from a specific socio-economic context, yeah? Street dance, for lack of a better term, yeah? In relation to choosing dance, it's just gotta be good, but it has to be original, and that's a quite a difficult word to use in the context of art and, but I am looking for something I haven't seen before. I am looking for a perspective or a viewpoint which I haven't quite seen. That's very exciting for me. Also, what's important is that every year I'd like to bring work from a country that I've not brought work from. Yeah, so that's always an agenda for me, which I couldn't do last year, of course. And this year, I'm struggling because the artists that we're meant to be having on Thursday and Friday, they are not going to be able to come because there's not enough time for them to quarantine. Company Nia, we heard that it's not going to happen. Yeah? It's a real struggle to even do this interview right now, knowing that and knowing I'm meant to be talking about Company Nia, they're coming to Breakin Convention, they're not. Yeah?
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah? Why is it that people have to quarantine for that long? Yet when you walk out on the street, everybody's all walking up, all hugging up and close to each other, and do you know what I mean? And it's just really, really frustrating. It's very likely there might be some new artists that are coming up over the next couple of weeks.
I mean, you've got people from different levels of the society. Yes. You've got new artists, established artists. You've got people traveling, which I can understand there is a problem with that at this stage, but I'm sure you'll sort something out and it will be sorted. Yeah, we are also looking forward to it. So
I know, that's the thing. I've got a responsibility to my audience.
Absolutely. Your audience will be happy. They have been happy for 18 years. You can't go wrong. So tell us, all this long journey of 18 years of Breakin Convention, spearheading a movement of giving hip-hop the status of theatre, and then rejecting an MBE, giving it back. What does all this mean to you, this whole journey, successful, vibrant, flamboyant, ups and downs, but getting where you desired to be? If you could share with us.
Well, okay, so basically I did a show called Aeroplane Man, and it was at the Queen Elizabeth Hall, and Alistair programmed it because he was head of dance there. And it went down really well, and I spoke to Alistair after. I said, look, there's a lot more of this hip hop stuff in the theatre. It's just that it's not happening as much in England, but in France, in Holland, specifically France, they just do loads of it. They've been doing it for years. So when he got the job here, he said, Jonzi, let's do it. To raised eyebrows, do you know what I mean? Because obviously Sadler's Wells is a temple of the highest level of proficient classical ballet and contemporary dance. And I believe that there's always been a cultural apartheid when it comes to buildings like this, bringing in work that's coming from, I guess, maybe a working class aesthetic, do you know what I mean? So obviously there were some people that have left the building since, I'll hasten to add, that were saying that we've got to be careful about crime, because there's a real connection with hip hop and crime. And obviously they've been reading the Daily Mail or something like that. So that was said. And I remember when we first came, they had loads of security here. They had fences out the side. It was like, you know, but obviously it was bare peace, love, unity, and having fun. You know, there's never been a fight at Breakin Convention. Actually, there was. I'll tell you one moment. So we used to have seats that were free. So when you bought a ticket, you didn't have a seat, yeah? So it ended up people would be rushing for their seats. And during break time, someone went out, got out of their seat, and then come back, and there was somebody else in their seat. And apparently, it just kicked off a little bit. No, not actual violence, but there was, you know? But that's the nearest to it. Other than that, Breakin Convention is the most joyous, lovely, peaceful event. Well, it depends. If you see people getting up and dancing in a crump battle, you might think it's a fight, but it's not, I promise.
It's a festival atmosphere. I've been in there and I've thoroughly enjoyed. It's electric. I must say, with the seats moved in the front rows, you can just get there and dance and just be a part of it. It is very interactive and gripping, which is fabulous. And we are looking forward to it this year. And I'm sure, you know, the way you talk, the way you present yourself, and when you are actually, you know, anchoring, you are putting it all together on stage. There are so many out there, budding artists who look up to you. They idolize you. And I guess it's that fire, you know, that burning desire to, you know, get hip hop there, to get it going. You know, that I'm sure encourages new generations. Yes. So what is your message to them?
Believe, yeah? Believe that you are brilliant, you know what I mean? And it's not about arrogance, it's about that self-belief, you know what I mean? Also, you have to work really hard. That's the one important thing that all of the very greatest dancers, rappers, graffiti artists, DJs, whatever level that you're talking about, they've worked hard to get where they're getting. It doesn't come easy to you.
Thank you so much, Jonzi. Thanks for talking to us today, giving us your time. I ask you to do maybe a bit of singing or a poetry for us.
Maybe a bit of singing. Maybe it's poetry. I guess the reason why you're asking, because you know it's me. Yes. But anyway, we've got the cameras all here. Lick a love for that, we can only see your hair, which is really beautiful. But don't worry about me, I'm just scratching an itch and see my cuticles all looking dope. Excellent. That's the end. And I just represent.
Thank you. Thanks very much.